It's getting late in August and I'm getting antsy. Radall football is close to 2 weeks away. Flags have been planted. Takes have been had. You know who I don't like, so how can I make busts even better than it was before? You're about to find out. Anyone on the Pittsburgh Steelers not named Antonio Brown? Ben Roethlisberger QB/Pittsburgh Steelers 2015 stats, 12 games yards, 39-38 TD, 21 int, 16 Le'Veon Bell RB/Pittsburgh Steelers 2015 stats, 6 games 80 T, 113 yards, 556 TD, 3 Landry Green TD/Pittsburgh Steelers 2015 stats, 13 games rec, 37 yards, 429 TD, 4 D'Angelo Williams RB/Pittsburgh Steelers 2015 stats 80 T, 200 yards, 970 TD, 11 I know this is a tough pill to swallow, but at their current ADP, I could see virtually the entire Pittsburgh Steelers offense busting. Except for Antonio Brown, of course. With the injury concerns for Landry Green and the suspension of Martavis Bryant, Roethlisberger is left with almost no weapons outside of Brown. Marcus Sweeten is nothing special and Sammy Coates looks like he has lost whatever momentum he had from training camp. With Roethlisberger's injury risk and limited upside, there's no chance I'd take him as the 5th QB off the board. You would think that the suspension reduction for Le'Veon Bell would help him, but not if I have to take him in the first round. The best case scenario is you get 10 weeks of the regular season and Bell stays healthy and performs at the same level as last year. That's not worth the first round pick to me, and it's no guarantee with a player coming off a significant injury. At their current cost, I'd fade anyone in this offense not named Antonio Brown, who may have a record-breaking year. The Miami Dolphins running game Arian Foster RB/Miami Dolphins 2015 stats, 4 games 80 T, 63 yards, 163 TD, 1 J.J. RB/Miami Dolphins 2015 stats, 9 games 80 T, 49 yards, 187 TD. One to say this group has looked unimpressive in the preseason would be a colossal understatement. I'm not sure it's fair to cast all the blame on the running backs, as the Miami Dolphins defensive line looks like a complete mess. I was pretty excited about the prospect of getting Arian Foster in the 9th or 10th round as a flyer who could possibly get his upside back. He's currently being drafted at the end of the 6th round. For a 30-year-old running back coming off a major injury behind a questionable offensive line, that is way too early. Even when I was optimistic about Foster, I was expecting there to be some type of time share. At least with Foster, we know he's good when he's right. I'm not sure you can say the same for AJ. We've seen very little evidence that AJ's talent translates at this level. What we have seen is the Dolphins had a running back through the draft and free agency since the new regime took over. That doesn't scream confidence to me. Anyone who drafts based on last year's unsustainable touchdown rate Devonta Freeman RB/Atlanta Falcons 2015 stats 80 T, 264 rush yards, 1061 total TD, 14 rec, 73 rec yards, 578 Tyler Eifert TD/Cincinnati Bengals 2015 stats, 13 games rec, 52 yards, 615 TD, 13 Brandon Marshall WR/New York Jets 2015 stats rec, 109 rec yards, 1502 TD, 14 If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Touchdowns are the least predictable part of fantasy. Sure, volume plays a huge part and so does roll. Still, of the small sample size of a 16-game season, we can get some pretty wonky numbers, and boy did we last year. Devonta Freeman may have a huge role in Atlanta again, but it would be hard to imagine his leash is as long as it was last season. Freeman had a spectacular 6-week stretch and then a terrible time running the ball in the second half. Despite seeing his efficiency crater, Freeman still scored 4 touchdowns in the second half. That's about the pace I would project for 2016, which would be a drastic fall from 2015. Just about the entire New York Jets passing game looks primed for regression. Eric Decker continued his amazing success in the red zone while Brandon Marshall and Ryan Fitzpatrick each set career highs in scores. I would expect Fitzpatrick in particular to regress, which is clearly going to have a negative impact on his receivers. Finally, Tyler Eifert. Wound. Eifort was the first player in 30 years to score 13 touchdowns with less than 60 catches and less than 700 yards. In fact, he had the lowest yardage total for any player with 13 touchdowns since 1948. Basically, if something hasn't happened in 30 years, it's probably not going to happen again next year. Eifort was less involved in his passing game than Zach Ertz, but he's being drafted almost 3 rounds earlier. This is despite the fact that most of us don't expect Eifort to play in Week 1. The Los Angeles Rams passing game Tavon Austin WR/Los Angeles Rams 2015 stats rec. 52 yards, 473 TD. 5. You might think that no one involved in this passing game is being drafted anyway. Well, Tavon Austin is, in the 10th round. Austin could have easily been included in the section above, because he scored 9 touchdowns on just 104 touches. I'm also not really that excited about counting on rushing production from my wide receiver. While Austin is likely to be a bust even at his late ADP, you may be tempted in deeper leagues to draft another member of this passing game. Kenny Britt, Tyler Higbee and Arrow Cooper could all be viewed as late-round keepers. Do yourself a favor and draft the receiver who won't be catching passes from Case Keenum instead. Most every quarterback at their current ADP. What is even happening? Current ADP shows Cam Newton in the first round and 9 quarterbacks being selected in the first 6 rounds. I'm so disappointed. I don't think all of these quarterbacks are going to have a bad season, but they aren't going to be worth this cost. So, instead of admonishing you for mistakes that have already been made, let's talk about moving forward. What do you do if everyone in your league follows this path? First, stock up on good players at every other position while your league mates chase quarterbacks. You should have the best running backs and receivers in the league, then you're going to get a good quarterback at a more reasonable cost. My 2 favorite values according to current ADP are Matthew Stafford 9th round and Tyrod Taylor 11th. Both of these quarterbacks have top 8 upside without the exorbitant cost. Kickers, anywhere but the last 2 rounds first. If you haven't had your draft yet, get on board and number sign bank at Kirk. Seriously? You don't need them, you don't enjoy them, and they're largely random. Drop the kicker and add a flex and make your league better. If you don't have that type of control, then please don't be the guy taking the kicker in the mid-late rounds of your draft. If you want to take Stephen Gostkowski in the 13th, that's fine. Drafting him at his current ADP 9th round is ridiculous. The Washington Redskins I don't believe in Kirk Cousins repeating what he did last year, which affects him and his receivers. That receiver situation is pretty messy right now anyway, with a mixture of veterans who may not be that good anymore and young receivers who aren't 100%. Jordan Reed is the true star of this receiving corps, but he absolutely could have been in the touchdown regression section and has an extensive injury history. At running back, we have to downgrade Matt Jones with his shoulder injury, and I didn't like him very much in the first place. He's fine if he falls to the 8th round or later, but I can't imagine he will, especially if the injury news is positive. Avoiding an entire team is kind of a silly strategy, but at their current ADPs, I'll be staying away from Washington. Blake Bortles QB/Jacksonville Jaguars 2015 stats yards, 44-28 TD, 35 int, 18. Yes, I could have fit Bortles into the touchdown regression section, but I thought he deserved his own section. I've written about Bortles several times this year, and I'm proud to say he's fallen to the 11th quarterback off the board. It's still too high. Bortles supporters seem to want to completely ignore his rookie year and focus solely on 2015. To his credit, Bortles' 2015 numbers put him in the same class as Eli Manning and Matt Ryan as sophomores. On the other hand, those were 2 of only 3 quarterbacks to become good fantasy quarterbacks after posting year 2 percentages as bad as Bortles. Maybe Bortles will be the 4th time betting against him and the rest of these busts.